So I thought I said my lines, and I'm looking at Dela waiting, and Dela is looking at me waiting. I'm thinking, in my mind, I said, "What the Dela?" And when I heard my line said by her to cover for me, I realized, whoops,
Oh my God.
I dried. I didn't know where I was.
The audience knew what was happening?
I hope not, because Dela is so skillful that she may have covered for me. But I said, you know what, wake up, let me leave this thing alone, yeah? We can't remember. So,
Janet Silvera, and you're watching West Side JA. My guest today is Douglas Prout, producer, director, set design expert, casting director, you name it. When you hear about theater in Jamaica, in Canada, in the United States, the name that goes with that is Douglas Prout. Douglas, you have been in Jamaica for the last 6 months.
that's right.
Working, even though you live in Canada.
That is true.
I mean, having gone to Canada with Jamaica's loss anyway. So we're happy that you've been here for this long time. What have you been doing?
Thank you for asking, and thank you for having me. I appreciate you, my friend. Always good to see you.
A pleasure.
Even though I'm not fully awake, but I'll try my best. You know, it's a little early in the day for me. I've been busy creatively. I am blessed. I consider myself fortunate that I am allowed to do my passion. I long learned that what I really want to do when I'm happiest, when I am most actualized, when I'm feeling on top of the world, is when I'm in the creative sphere. But that couldn't feed me, pick them and send them to university.
No.
So it wouldn't work, and the wife wouldn't be pleased with me just being a starving artist, you know? So I did corporate Jamaica, 20 years in my last job at as the branch manager at an insurance company. And, but during then, I always knew that what I wanted to do. So I was fortunate that that company embraced my talents and actually sponsored and helped to produce some of the plays that I did here in Western Jamaica. So I was glad that I could do what I loved and still manage to survive and go to supermarkets, you know? So what I've been doing on this trip, though, I came to do something specifically about our African retention, about the Anansi folklore part of our culture. And a couple of hotels were interested in some indigenous form of entertainment. And I wrote a play. I wrote a play called Con Artist, specifically for this region.
Is it because we're having so much scamming going on in Jamaica?
That was part of the reason that I was hoping to shed some light on some of the pitfalls. Or is it
the corruption otherwise?
It's a bit of both. It's a bit of both, so that the young people, because it's designed to go into schools, churches, move around. It's an easily transportable production. So I'm hoping that the young people will look at it and say, maybe scamming is not the most viable career choice for me, and there are other things I could do with my talents and with myself. So we use comedy as a vehicle to tell some serious messages. So it opened in May, and I'm hoping it will have a long run because, as I said, it can move around, and hoping that there will be a lot of teachable moments and it will be quite instructive amidst all the laughter that it evokes. So I'm pleased, but my time is up. It's time to go home now.
Talk to me, though, about your best work. Which is it that gave you the most amount of fulfillment throughout your life?
What a question.
Were you were named best actor or anything like that? Did you get?
No, I was nominated several times for best actor in mostly Basil Dawkins productions in Kingston. We had our own Moby Awards back in the day, the Methuen Awards. I won a best actor for a David Heron's play called Redemption. I played a pastor who committed suicide, you know, opposite the great Karen Harriet. But as far as Kingston concerned, no, just being close, but never actually won a Best Actor award. But I don't act much anymore.
No, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
you really direct
Can't
and
remember the
edit.
lines. I remember, this is a true story. I think Johnny Daly was directing us at Fairfield. Weston Houghton did the set. It was a Patrick Brown's play called Hurricane Lovers. I was on stage with Delia Harris, my good friend. And I went blank. So I thought I said my lines, and I'm looking at Delia waiting, and Delia is looking at me waiting. I'm thinking, in my mind, I said, "What the Delia?" And when I heard my line said by her to cover for me, I realized, whoops,
Oh my
I
God.
dried. I didn't know where I was.
The audience knew what was happening?
I hope not, because Delia is so skillful that she may have covered for me. But I said, you know what, wake up, let me leave this thing alone, yeah? We can't remember. So, but I get a lot of fulfillment out of seeing actors shine and helping a production to step up from the printed page to stand up on the stage, and people love it. And so I get my own joys now to seeing my actors grow and develop and win their own awards. And so I do a lot of that training in Canada and here with the talents that I see straight out of high school, that I help them to work at Rose Hall as the actors there. So it's hard. It's like a parent saying, which is your favorite child? You may have one inside, but you're not going to articulate it. You're not going to make them know. But I have so many. I've directed over close to 60 plays. So most of them have done. There have been some terrible ones, I must confess. There have been some awful ones. That's all part of the learning curve. And there's some that are creative, that are artistically good, but because of poor marketing and lack of producing, nobody see it. So what's the point in having a great play? I remember
How does that make you feel though?
Sad.
Having worked
I know.
so hard. How
Yeah.
long does it really take you? For instance, con artists. How long you had to work to get that to where it is today?
We were in rehearsal about 6-7 weeks. It's just 3 characters and it gets pretty intense. And there's a big flip from the personality, the woman who we see, we take for granted, we think she a fool.
Yeah.
But she a play fool for catch wise. And we flip it entirely and we realize her true self, who she's in the second half. So to get the
Is
transition.
she the con artist? Oh, you're not telling
Is
me.
she? The jury's still out on that one. I'm not sure myself, but audiences think that she's the goodie. She's the one who helped to bring down the 2 con artists. Then.
Okay.
She make them meet them Waterloo, and she treat them, she fix them business. So they're looking other professions. When they're jail time, when they're out of prison, they probably will think of something else, thanks to her.
But
Yeah.
Douglas, because I'm very curious to find out, why do you think it has been so difficult for Montego Bay to get its own arts center? Because Montego Bay needs one.
Absolutely.
If we're going to have any plays whatsoever, we have to go back to a lecture theatre at Montego Bay Community College.
Which isn't really designed for
No,
theatre.
it's not designed
Acoustics
for
are
theatre.
bad. Yeah.
So what
it's
is it?
sad.
What has caused us to be here in 2023? I see a
Wow.
young lady by the name of Jody Marie Hussey, who has been talking about wanting this. I've seen announcements being made by
too.
governments
Yeah.
that we will get something, but it doesn't ever happen.
Collective will, politics, shift in the demographics. Our young people are more looking at Netflix and YouTube, and our content creators themselves on TikTok, and the passion and the love for traditional theatre perhaps is waning. Maybe theatre is an endangered species. I don't know. Maybe theatre is on its last legs. So many theatre spaces have died. A lot of them have. There are only about 2 or 3 theatre spaces in Kingston. So it's sad. But Mobay is close to my heart. I'll always identify as a regionalist. I miss this place. But it's very sad that there is no theatre. And any thriving, vibrant city in the world has a vibrant, thriving theatre. We
Boy.
don't have one in Mobay. So it's sad. You mentioned awards. I suppose one of the biggest would be the Musgrave Award. I got a Musgrave Medal for theatre in the 90s. won some Actor Boy Awards for directing, for Basil Dawkins. The Pride of Place, I think, would be Best Director for White Witch, which is something very close to me because it was school kids from Western Jamaica and a lot of first-timers. It was a big, lavish production, a musical on our Annie Palmer. So I felt very connected to that, and that perhaps helped to spawn or create the ongoing relationship I have with Annie Palmer and Rose Hall Greathouse to this day.
What kind of relationship you have with Annie Palmer?
We're very close. We're very close. I have some actors that work for me. I have a performing arts company, small, with a select group of talents who perform the Annie Palmer story every night. Used to be every night.
Where?
Until
At
COVID.
Rose Hall
Greathouse. The Haunted Night Tour. It's interactive. There's the day tour there that's been going on for maybe 30 years or maybe more. And that is just historical tourism telling you the sanitized version of the Annie Palmer story.
Is it popular?
The night tour is very popular. Yeah. The day tour holds its own, does well, but the night tour is crazy because it's live theater. My challenge as an artist, when I was given the opportunity by Mrs. Rollins, was how do I use my theater background to do theater without the stage? So we're moving from room to room, telling you the history of Annie Palmer and what transpired in this particular room, who was killed there, which husband, and how he died. And I have actors that bring it to life.
Wow.
So they are dressed as 300-year-old slaves, dead, zombies, move around spookily, and I have a...
That must be very frightening though.
For some, but haunted house, the whole haunted house genre is very popular overseas, and it's catching on here, and Halloween is our biggest night. We turn back people on Halloween. So the night tour has been going on for 10, 11 years. And it's 4 days a week now, since we're just recovering, still bouncing back from COVID.
But otherwise, it's usually 6, 7 days a week?
It used to be, yep. It's now at 4, and we're looking at, as the numbers continue to trend up, we're looking at going back, increasing the days. We'll play it by ear. But I'm very happy with that, because that provides a source, an outlet for fun, employment, and income for these talented persons that otherwise wouldn't be doing anything. So I'm very pleased with that. That's why I said I have an ongoing relationship with the legend, the folklore of Annie Palmer. But not literally at all. No, I've never actually seen her, and I don't hope to.
I doubt it. I doubt you'd see her. As you remember that time when they had somebody come from overseas working there at nights to ensure they would bring back Annie Palmer to life?
They had a
remember
seance.
that?
Yes, they had a seance there. They claimed that they spoke with her spirit, and she confessed to the murders, and I don't know.
I think it was somebody trying to make some money.
They probably did, because it's such a rich story. It's such a great story. I don't. It's a combination of many things, and it's sad though, because I've seen the benefits of theater. I was a very shy kid, reserved, behind the scenes in school, and theater helped to give me confidence to find myself and to express my the little talents that I had. So it's sad that we can't come together as a people, because the talent is here. I have no doubt. In Western Jamaica, White Witch proved that. I had kids from Green Island, from this Barrettown, that high school up the hill there, Cornwall, Mount Vernon, come together first time as dancers, singers, and played that they did so well. So they just need an opportunity. They need to be channeled, to be honed by a creative force at the helm, and somebody needs to pick up this baton and run with it. Sadly, it can't be me.
No.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be your
I paid
turn.
my dues.
I did you have done a fantastic job. You have. Your name will go down into history.
Thank you.
As one of those who really helped to preserve, showcase the Jamaican culture. And that's where I'm going next, because it would seem as if with the theater goes the culture.
You're onto something there.
You have been watching West Side JA. We'll be right back.
All memorable moments include delicious food. Good food can transform the ordinary into extraordinary. We welcome more good times together, more memories we won't forget.
Rainforests always I make delicious moments.
Your name will go down into history
Thank you.
as
Janet.
one of
That's
those
kind. Thank
who
you.
really helped to preserve, showcase the Jamaican culture. And that's where I'm going next, because it would seem as if with the theater goes the culture.
You're onto something there. And that is sad. That's an indictment on us as a people, that we can allow our culture to become diluted, and the shift in what we love and what we present, and which is why I approached some hotels to see if I could start to regenerate, to see if I could get something indigenous to go into the hotels, so that our visitors, I mean Jamaican-based people from the diaspora, will get an opportunity to see a little bit about our cultural background, and see more of Jamaica than sun, sea, and sand. Because we're
Not
much
even
more.
our hotels are ready, it would seem.
It would seem, yeah. I'm still knocking on that door. I'm still trying to get my foot in and break that ceiling, so that we can have consistent indigenous entertainment in our hotels.
Did you have any particular element of the culture in mind when you approached the hotels?
I did, I used the Anansi from our African retention of the folklore. And Anansi, the character, the trickster. The original conman is Anansi. Before.
And you could not get that into the hotels?
I did start, and I'm hoping that on my next trip, end of the year, I'll be able to see that materialize. Because I had a cast, we rehearsed, we presented it at 2 hotels, they were interested, and things happened. Management changed the direction they were going, and they put it on hold, so I got a pushback. But I'm not giving up. I believe that we need to see more of our culture in the hotels. So, Anansi will rise again, I think.
You make me very worried about the
I am
future
too.
of entertainment
Yeah.
in the tourism sector, for instance. And overall, the arts that we continue to talk about, it's
Yeah.
almost like it's lip service.
It is. We pay lip service to it.
Yeah.
We talk the talk. We can talk, we know what is needed to be done, but it's the doing. It's the putting the shoulder to the wheel, getting in the trenches, and actually. We had a cultural center once on Gloucester Avenue there. We had the museum inside Sam Sharp Square there.
We
has a
do.
perform-
We still have a museum in Sam Sharp Square.
Right, but-
to be honest with you, I am pleased with the museum. I've gone
Good.
there many times.
Good, so have I.
And I'm pleased. I feel like the is it that thing that we have at the back of the with the dedication to the
Okay,
slaves
okay,
need
yes.
to be at the front.
True.
Right.
So more
You know what I mean?
access, yeah, it's
I
much
think
more visible.
there are too many people who don't know anything
Correct.
about it. They
Correct.
don't know that we have dedicated
Yes, sir.
this
Great point.
monument. The word I was trying to find is monument.
Yes.
This monument to the slaves who fought.
For our
So many of
freedom.
them, but
Yeah.
many people know nothing about it because it's at the back.
Yeah, you have to actually.
And I
get
know it's going to
inside.
take money to bring it to the front.
But it's worth
But
it. It's
it needs-
important.
It's worth
It's
it.
important.
It's
yeah.
important.
But there's a stage inside there too that is underutilized. Why don't we
Yes.
have? We should have community theater inside there, since it's there's no. It wasn't designed for a theater per se, but once you bring in lights and sound, you can put on plays there. Why is it not being used? Since there's no other space, since Fairfield is dead, why aren't we seeing more theater performances here in the Bay? It's not for the lack of.
What has
Will.
really happened to Fairfield? Is it that we have lost the land, the access to the theater itself?
No,
What had
it's
happened?
not that. I think COVID played a huge role. COVID was the final straw that broke the proverbial camel's back. In that it had been struggling in recent times because the shift and the lack of consistency. Remember, Fairfield was born out of perhaps the Yacht Club, an expat organization, and it was mostly Shakespeare and the overseas base. It was when I moved up the ranks in the management there, we started to shift. Some people embraced it, some were a little reserve that that's not where we should be going with our theater,
Aye.
Montego Bay, but men of our business. I thought that, hey, it should reflect us a little bit more, so we started doing plays by our writers. Less of, the Bard Shakespeare is great, but we kind of have writers here that we want to encourage. So we started doing the Patrick Browns, Louis Marriott's, Trevor Rohn, Basil Dawkins, and even local writers. And we had some reviews that were topical and reflected society, So the whole change in the hue, the complexion and the direction there, I thought was a positive one. But after a while, the lack of consistency is what impacted it. Lack of real sponsorship. No one there to really bankroll and ensure that this continues. And when I moved away back in 2010, sadly, maybe I failed in getting succession management in place. Yes, perhaps, because there was a rift there, and it just never seemed to continue to do well. And then,
but you still have hope, because
there is always hope.
There's always hope.
Yeah, there's always hope, but it's going to take massive investment to restore it, because it's been overrun by bush and termites. The stage is, it's just dusty, and it's full of cobwebs and lack of use and disrepair. It's a derelict building. Very sad.
What would you like to say to the powers that be while we wrap up? What would you want to say to those who can help to bring theater, bring the arts to where they need to be? What would you want to say to them? You have been watching West Side JA. We'll be right back. What would you want to say to those who can help to bring theater, bring the arts to where they need to be? What would you want to say to them?
Montego Bay, Western Jamaica deserves better.
Yeah.
Right? I have seen talents emerging from this region that had to go to Kingston to further their arts. I'm one of them. If I didn't go to Kingston to start directing, I probably wouldn't be directing in England and Canada and America today. Montego Bay wouldn't have done it for me. We need to have a holistic plan. We need to stop the talk about it, because there have been many plans of theaters for years. We need to just start doing now and stop the talking. There is talent to be honed and developed. It's an income earner. It's a career builder. It is life-changing. Theater can be used for so many things. And it could help to stem the violence.
I believe so too.
The use of our creative minds in productive ways like that, it has to be a plus, has to be an asset. So we need the collective will. We need people who will now work, get a cohort, get a body together of like mind and drive the process, set a timeline, and not necessarily at Fairfield, it could be somewhere else, anywhere, but it needs to be done for our future.
Yes.
It needs to be done.
I'm in agreement with you.
Thank you, my friend.
I want to thank you so much for giving your time.
No, my pleasure. Always good to see you. Always good to see you. Always good to see you.
You've been watching West Side JA. Thank you for watching.